the Bring Back Our Girls movement, and you're welcome to Politics with KO. Now, how many days now that these girls have gone missing? The Chibok girls?
Today makes it 310 days since the girls were abducted. That means in about 55 days, 55 to 56 days, God forbid, if those girls are not yet back, it will be 1 year since the abduction of the Chibok girls.
Did your movement ever think that it would go thus far, that you would, in over 200 days to 300 days, that you wouldn't have those girls?
No, we didn't envisage that we would even spend 2 weeks, much less talking about 1 month. When we started the movement, I recall we needed to do some publicity materials, and the printer we got said to us that it was going to take him about 2 weeks for him to do the printing, and we said no, don't worry, because we just thought that 2 weeks from then it was just too long, you know, for us to still be coming out or be advocating for the Chibok girls. I recall also when we commemorated 1 month since the abduction, that was 30 days after the abduction, and we had a vigil, you know, here in Abuja, and I recall the events of that day, you know, how we spoke to the people in Chibok, how we, you know, spoke to the community elder, how we did several things, you know, commemorating 1 month. And we didn't plan forward from there, because we just thought, you know what, 1 month will be the longest we would have to stay. But today we are talking about 310 days since 219 girls have gone missing.
So before these girls, they went missing, right? And before them, there have been kidnappings. After them, people have been kidnapped, even killed. Boys, about 47 boys were killed in a secondary school. And more people are still going. What makes Chibok unique? What makes Chibok quite different?
Just like you rightly mentioned, before the abduction of the Chibok girls, there's been a series of abductions, you know, especially in the northeast. They come into the town, they come in their trucks, they pick women, girls, and, you know, they cut away with them, you know, turn them into slaves, and that's been going on. Even though it was never escalated as much as it is now being escalated when we started, you know, speaking more about the Chibok girls. Also, in Buninyadi, there were 49 boys that were killed in Buninyadi and, you know, practically slaughtered. And we didn't think that that would be something that would see the light of day in Nigeria, because we expected that, for instance, our government would so react to the killing of those boys that it would send a message to Nigerians that, you know what, we are on top of your security. And it will send a message to the terrorists that we don't joke with our people. You can't just come and kill our children and go away, you know. Something that is pungent enough to send a message to every stakeholder. Unfortunately, what we saw was silence.
So are you disappointed with your government?
Yes. Utterly disappointed. So when the abducted Chibok girls, when it happened, something went off. We said to ourselves, if abductions, killings that had happened before the Chibok girls, if it had happened and the government did not take the right kind of action, then we shouldn't sit down and watch the Chibok girls go like that and nothing will be done. So for us, paying attention to the Chibok girls was saying and sending a message to the government that we are not a people that will just sit down and act as if we don't care. At that point also, the international community were already questioning our humanity. You mean people will sit like that? We came out 15 days after the abduction. because we're hoping that within that 15 days, our government would do something and we would not need to come out. If the government had acted responsibly, we would not be coming out on a daily basis like we do today.
Okay, you've been to the Northeast. I followed some of your updates and you take relief materials there. Can you tell us where you've been? What's the situation there, especially the internally displaced persons? Share your experience with us.
We visited a camp for internally displaced persons somewhere in Nasarawa State, very close to Abuja. We, as the Bring Back Our Girls group, thought that, okay, beyond the Chibok girls, let's also pay attention to other victims of insurgency. So IDPs were also part of the people that we thought we should reach out to and extend some level of solidarity to them. So we went to Nasarawa State, we went to Kubaru in particular. And that would be the first time, for me as an individual visiting a place where people who have become displaced in their own fatherland. The reality slapped me in the face. People came out in their twos, in their fives, in their tens, and you could almost read on their faces lost hope, disappointment in the government. We took few relief materials there, but it meant a lot to them. So by the time I left Kubaru, it was September 21st precisely, I felt I shouldn't just keep quiet, about the plight. That is in 2014. I shouldn't just keep quiet about the plight of IDPs. We need to shine the light on that as well, so that it can get required attention. However, I decided to pay more attention to IDPs in the Northeast. So we picked Adamawa State as our initial, as the first state that we're going to be working with. So I started this project called Adopt a Camp, conceptualized, developed a concept note for it, developed a plan for it, got 1 or 2 team members to come together. So we went to Yola, Adamawa State, which is in the northeastern part of Nigeria. When we went there, the first trip was for us to do our baseline, We wanted to see things for ourselves. We wanted to hear their stories. We wanted to know that this thing we call IDPs, camps, settlements, and all of that, people who escaped, we wanted to see that it was true. And I have to say that what we saw on ground in Yola is beyond what is being reported in the news. Is hugely, hugely underplayed.
Can you describe some of those things?
I met a girl, Joyce Matthews. Joyce was one of the people that was displaced from Mubi. And she ran.
And which state is Mubi?
Mubi is I think Adamawa or Borno State. Yeah. So she escaped when Mubi was taken, and she ran from Mubi to another part of the state, Adamawa State.
So Boko Haram took.
Boko Haram took over Mubi. One of the territories that we lost to them at the time. And, she moved for kilometers. The thing that is fascinating about Joy's story is the fact that she trekked down from Mubi to communities for 2 days. And eventually found herself in Chad or so, and came back, started looking for her parents. Bottom line is to say that this pain is real. Everybody had one unique story or the other. I met a 16-year-old boy who told me how his father and his friends were killed in his presence. How do you expect such a boy to live life normally?
So, but how come we don't get these stories from the Nigerian news platform?
Unfortunately, we believe not telling this story is our own way of protecting the dignity of the nation. But if we are not coming out to tell this story, how do we get the required help that we need? There are a lot of young girls. Before we saw this escalated level of insurgency in Nigeria, there's been reports that the number of the girl child that is out of school has the highest in Nigeria. At least I followed Malala Day event in 2014. And we're still dealing with ensuring that Nigeria moves away from the country that has the highest number of girl child that are out of school to at least we competing favorably, as it relates to education. And then, boom, the Chibok girls were abducted. What did we see? Parents that I met would tell me that they don't want their children to go to school. I met girls who told me that no, they don't want to go to school, they want to do something else. I met boys who said going to school means killing them, and they don't want to go to school. And yet, we say these are the future of tomorrow.
I think I should ask you this question. Is this argument on the side of government that the Bring Back Our Girls movement is more or less the voice of the opposition? Doyin Okupe, the spokesperson to Nigeria's president, Goodluck Jonathan, has kept saying it. Bring Back Our Girls is not for Chibok girls, but a voice of the opposition. How is the movement? How have you been reacting to that? Is he right? Is he any element of truth in the statement? Why, for example, is it that it's mainly people from the opposition that keeps coming to your sit out and not a lot of members of the government?
Ruling party. It's unfortunate that this even has to become a conversation, because in a nation where shared humanity is understood, we will never have to have this conversation on people that are coming to advocate for innocent girls who have gone missing and now being tagged as opposition or any other sentiment that they've tried to box us in. And it's unfortunate, you know, someone said that we have the geographical location called Nigeria, but have we really defined who Nigerians are, such that if I say this is a Nigerian, there are specific core values that I expect this Nigerian to exhibit, so that I know it's Nigerians that act this way, and there are positive core values. Unfortunately, we have the geographic expanse called Nigeria, but we've not defined Nigerians. If we have defined Nigerians, this will not be a conversation, because then we would know, for instance, that a typical Nigerian is his or her brother's keeper. A typical Nigerian will stand up if someone goes missing, and that typical Nigerian will never be tagged as being opposition, being tribalistic, being religious or something, because we know that embedded in us are those core values. So somebody like a Doyin Okupe is just one of the elements that are the unfortunate result of we not having a clearly defined Nigerian. You know, so I will not pay attention on Doyin Okupe. However, I would want to talk on the issues. When the movement started, of course, because the 2015 election was gradually coming close, there was the angle of politicization. So the ruling party conveniently got out the lens of politics to say, these people are the people that doesn't want this government to come back again. So the fact that they are demanding accountability, then the only way we can define them is that they are opposition. We also need to understand the typical Nigerian or African culture, where when a child begins to ask questions and demand, then that child is seen as, you know, being disrespectful. Let's bring it to the national level. So you have some bunch of Nigerians who feel that we cannot move on when over 200 of our children have been taken away, and we begin to demand accountability. So what do they say? These people are against the government. These people are not wishing that this nation state succeeds. So they look at it from that angle. There was the angle of tribal box, let me put it that way, where this is a northern problem. As a matter of fact, there was a time that CP Umbu came out, when he was still in the FCT, came out and banned every movement, especially the Bring Back Our Girls movement. We went to the court, and guess what? Our local standard was questioned. They questioned the fact that why are we coming out to advocate for Chibok girls when the leaders are not members of the Chibok community, they are not from the Northeast? Are you not crying more than the bereaved? It beats my mind.
These positions were made in court.
Was made in court as an argument. How could you present that as an argument? It holds no water. the nation state should be such that I can come out and advocate for a Chukwuma when I'm a Bukola, and nobody will question my empathy. Nobody will question the reason why I'm doing it. People would understand that, one, I'm doing it because I am human, so I understand what it means to have shared humanity. Two, I'm doing it because I am Nigerian, because the person in question is my Nigerian brother. So unfortunately, in order to disregard and not listen to the citizens who are demanding for the return of the girls, they conveniently got out a lot of boxes. One is the political box, they are APC. Two is the religious box. Oh no, this is a Muslim thing. They are the ones trying to kill Christians and all of that. Chibok has 70 to 80% of Christians, and the Chibok girls are over 70 to 80%. And unfortunately, CAN, the Christian Association of Nigeria, also contributed to it. What did they do? They came out with the list of all the Christian girls that were part of the abducted Chibok girls. Why are we so separating ourselves across religious lines? First is to understand that these are human beings, these are Nigerians. Do we have to say, okay, no, the Christians should be treated separately. Whatever will happen to the Muslim will happen to the Muslim. So like I said earlier, the political box, the religious box, and there was also the tribal box.
Well, are you not also guilty of the fact that have you in any way invited the president or any members of the government to come to your sit-out area?
We've done that severally. I recall when we had the very first protest to the president, when we expected the president to come to us, and by this expectation, we need to be clear, 276 girls were abducted in the country that you lead. 57 of those girls came back on their own without being rescued. 219 are still in abduction. We expect that as the president, one, in his capacity as the president, two, in his capacity as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces who are responsible for the security of the people, and three, in his capacity as the father of the nation, you would expect that he should take the lead to Chibok immediately to at least condole with them and give them assurances that the office of the president, combining these three responsibilities, is on top of the game, and we are going to get those girls back. But nothing like that was done. What did we see? We had to go and engage the president. When we went to meet the president, it was an opportunity for the president to redeem the dying image of the nation, because we were providing a platform where the president would come out and give an update on effort without compromising sensitive security details. And not just that, but also assured Nigerians. What that we do by extension is also to send message to Nigerians in the diaspora who are afraid to come back home because I don't want to go to school in Nigeria because they will abduct me. It will also send a message to non-Nigerians in the international community to say we are people that care for our people. So if you come also, we'll care for you the same way. But what did we see? Nothing like that. The first time we went, police, the president didn't come out. He sent a delegation to come and attend to us, and it was a shouting match. Even before we got there, we were barricaded of police with guns and all of that were sent out. So we expected that beyond we going to engage the president, which has been fruitless all the while, because the president has conveniently seen us as opposition, we're against the government, we are rubbishing, because I've heard the president say it severally, including the recent presidential media chat, that how can we use our international connection to be going to rubbish the nation state? You expect us to sit down when we sought for help within, and the help is not coming. We are talking about 310 days today. Shouldn't we go out and seek for help from those that we know can provide help?
If the president the presidency should decide to come to your sit-out, where you've been consistently daily sitting on behalf of the Chibok girls, if they said, okay, I want to come and meet you there, are they welcome?
Sure. What we see at the Unity Fountain, where we meet on a daily basis, there are two things. One, we believe in the symbolism of that fountain, Unity Fountain. We believe that that is a place where we have all unified regardless of all the sentiments that may divide us. Religious, we don't remember if we are Christians or Muslims. Tribal, whatever. PDP, APC, even parties I don't know their name, they come there and come and identify with a cause that borders on our shared humanity. If the president comes today, it is an avenue and an opportunity for him, which I don't think is too late, for him to come and say, I take responsibility. I didn't act when I was supposed to act. I didn't do what I was supposed to do at the time I was supposed to do it. I take responsibility. However, I'm coming now so that we can all join hands to wage this war against our common enemy. And at least assure us that platform, several members of the Chibok community come there on a daily basis. Several parents come there to come and join us. That platform will be an avenue where the president will not just be addressing those that come to the Unity Fountain, but will be addressing the entire world to say that we are on top of this, we are making effort, and we'll get those girls back. That alone is a huge symbol that will help us regain back the dignity of Nigeria that has been lost.
Okay, there's going to be elections, at least presidential elections and national election on the 28th of March, if I'm correct, 2015. What will you expect, one, of President Jonathan if he's re-elected, or a Muhammad Buhari or any of the other candidates if we have a new government? What do you think will be their first number one priority of Goodluck Jonathan if he's re-elected, or Buhari or any other person if they are coming in as a new government?
As a nation, one thing is really paramount to us now: security. The Constitution is also clear, Section 14, subsection 2, that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary responsibility of the government. Once the issue of security is dealt with, then every other thing we can begin to pay, commensurate attention to those other issues. So let me start with this current administration coming back, should they come back. If this current administration come back, it is clear. One thing that is agitating the mind of an average Nigerian right now is the fact that we want to live in a society that is secured. We want to live in a society where we go to the market and we are not scared of being bombed. We want to send our children to school and not fear that some bunch of miscreants will come and abduct them. We want to send our children to school knowing that a suicide bomber will not go in and detonate a bomb. We want to live in a secured environment. That is the primary request from this administration. If they come back, it is simply to look at, one, in terms of this primary responsibility, how have we fared? And, do the same for all other sectors. But, honing down on security, one, how have we fared? Have we done well? And this is the point to tell ourselves the truth. Beyond the people within our caucus, can we get, opinions from other people and let them tell us exactly the truth? One, what's our current state? How have we fared? Two, where should we be in terms of security? So what is agitating the minds of Nigerians? Do an opinion poll. Let people come out and tell you as a government and as a leader what we are really agitating for as it relates to our security. Listen to them. This is not the time to get defensive. This is not the time to try to put anybody in any box. This is the time to listen because we are so concerned about the nation. So two, what's the expectation? The expectation here will be coming from what's the expectation of the people? Because in the democratic system of government, it is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. One thing is constant: the people. So it means that the opinion, the input of the people will play a huge role in either the success or the failure of the democratic system of government. So it's to ask, what do the people want as it relates to security? And let us pour it out. The social media is a huge tool. Millions of Nigerians are on that platform. You can also use other medium and gather it, break it down and put it together as specific things that are agitating the minds of Nigerians. And three, in view of where we are right now, where we should be based on what the feedback that you have gotten. How do we bridge that gap? This is where we now begin to come up with implementable actions. And we say to ourselves, you know what, this is what Nigerians, and let's plan it out. Let Nigerians know that, you know what, within so timeline, we are going to do it. So agency will be responsible for this. So institution will be responsible for this, and all of that. And help us in making sure that this happens. You know what happens? That way, everybody is joining hands in ensuring that we move this country forward as it relates to our security. We cannot overemphasize the cost of insecurity to us as a nation. People don't even want to step into the borders of Nigeria, much less come in to do business with us. So if this administration comes back, is to say, what didn't we do well? Where are we going? How do we bridge that gap?
And if it's a new administration?
If it's a new administration, is to ask themselves, one, what were people asking and demanding for in that last administration? Security, education, and everything that people are asking for. And don't assume you know. Do town hall meetings. Go around. This is not a political campaign town hall meeting. That's different. This is a moving forward developmental plan town hall meeting, and get relevant stakeholders to come together in the 6th geopolitical zone. You know, make sure that it has the proper kind of, and let us sit down and deliberate on how to move the country forward. So once the new administration gets that, and they will begin to plan. So based on what the last government didn't do well, that we identified, and that the people have seen, what plan are we going to put in place to ensure that we do it well, but not just that, sustainably so?
Bukky Shonibare, I wish we had enough time. Thanks so much for giving us this platform.
Thank you.
Then I hope we won't have the 1 year of Chibok girls, that they will be back.
I am really hoping, because in 56 days' time, it will be 1 year. I fear that if we have spent 310 days of abduction, I hope that we won't have to do 55 days more.